Energy Minister Gwede Mantashe believes that the creation of a second electricity supply company owned by the government alongside Eskom would provide much-needed solutions to the country's 14-year-old energy crisis. Speaking of the SACP Congress recently, President Cyril Ramaphosa appeared to support the idea. Let's talk about it then with senior researcher at the University of Fort Hare's Institute of Technology, Dr. Sampson Mamphweli. Dr. Mamphweli, welcome back to Daytime Update. So, a second SOE focusing on electricity supply and provision in South Africa. Is that what we need?
Good afternoon to Mekile. I just need to make a small correction. I've moved from the University of Fort Hare. I'm now director at the Center for Renewable and Sustainable Energy Studies at Stellenbosch University.
Oh, my apologies and congratulations.
Yeah, that happened in 2017.
Hey.
Yeah, so coming to the topic of the day, the issue of the second energy company won't work. It won't solve our current electricity crisis. This is a crisis that's been going on for 14 years, like you said. It's got nothing to do specifically with a new company or anything of that nature. If we look at the issues around the new company, even the president himself has started retracting on that because he knows that a new company will take quite a long time, first to establish and then secondly to allocate resources, because that company needs to be resourced, and after being resourced, it needs to build new power stations, and we don't know which power stations the minister wants that company to run, because if you're looking at building of new coal power stations, we've got an example of Medupi and Kusile. It can take us up to 10 years and with huge cost overruns. So we can't even go there. If you talk of renewable energy systems, it could take about 24 months for the new company to build. But for the new company to be in place, that is going to take at least between 3 and 5 years. So by the time this new company comes on board, the minister would have long retired.
Mm. And I mean, just the idea, I know there's been over the weekend an apparent attempt to walk back suggestions that would be going in the direction of the establishment of a second SOE in the same space as Eskom. Does private power generation appear more plausible, more likely to happen now? I know that would require a regulatory change, but do you think that government is then warming up to the idea?
Yeah, so private power generation is the way to go. And I always remind people that electricity generation itself was started by IPPs, by independent power producers in the 1800s in Kimberley. And government had to expropriate some of those initiatives because it saw electricity as a public good. So in my view, and I've been saying this for quite some time, Eskom shouldn't be seized with the issue of electricity generation, building power stations and things like that. Government has a good plan that the Minister of Public Enterprises presented in 2019 of legal separation of Eskom into distribution, transmission and generation. And generation will basically look after the current assets, while transmission buys from IPPs. That on its own will create competition. We've already seen the fruits of competition with our renewable energy program, where the cost of generation for renewable energy has been coming down, partly due to competition and largely due to the fact that the technologies have improved, the efficiencies have improved, so the cost goes down. And if you look at the proposal for the new SOE, we need to also take a lesson from the current situation. Currently, government was supposed to have already separated Eskom. Transmission was supposed to have been already independent from the main Eskom holdings as per their plan. But that has not happened as yet because these things take time. So if you look at 2019, we are now in 2022. They can't separate Eskom, and they are talking about a new company that needs to be registered now. And how long would that process take? It's something out of this world. I think government is panicking.
just on that point, you said government is panicking. What does that then mean about the level of trust in the people in charge of trying to address this already 14-year-long electricity crisis? Do they appear to be people who know what they're doing when it appears as though at this point we're in a search for the quickest route to the solution?
Yeah, so if it goes back to the plan, South Africa has got the energy plan called the Integrated Resource Plan. Everything needs to happen around that plan. The plan can be changed. It has already aged. We need to change it because there's quite a number of initiatives that have already come online that makes the plan basically obsolete. But over and above that, if you look at Eskom, the current management know what they're doing. They are doing very, very well, in my view, under the current circumstances. What is happening when I look at the landscape? There's a lot of politics that is starting to interfere with the energy plan. And people are putting a lot of pressure on the president and the two ministers at the moment, especially the so-called RET forces. They're pushing a lot of wrong information, false information into the public space. And the fact that we have this shortage, electricity shortage due to regular breakdown, is not helping as well. So we have a plan that we're implementing which will bear fruits in the next 2 to 3 years. What we need now is a short-term plan. And I've been saying this to say we need a plan that will ease the pressure on the grid. And we can do a number of interventions. We can go into a massive energy efficiency and demand side management program. We can deal with, we can open up the grid for small scale embedded generation, for instance. If you have solar PV on your roof, during the day you are at work, you are not using electricity, you can pump that electricity into the grid, and when you come back, then you can have the electricity. We can buy battery storage systems to enable that kind of a program and additional programs to thrive in our grid.
Professor Dr. Sampson Mamphweli, thank you so much for speaking to us on Daytime Update.